Hello and welcome to another episode of Laborvision, brought to you by your friends at KDHX, Community Television for St. Louis and beyond. I'm your host, John Hickey, and right now in the St. Louis area, many construction workers are out of work because the construction industry is very slack. On today's episode, we'll ask, can clean energy construction jobs put those folks back to work while at the same time lowering utility bills for consumers here and reducing greenhouse gas emissions? To examine that question, we've got three very knowledgeable guests. We have Mark Fuchs, who's with the Carpenters District Council here in St. Louis. We've got Dennis Gralike with the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 1, IBEW Local 1. He helps run the apprenticeship program there. And then we have Steve Nagle, who's with the East-West Gateway Coordinating Council, which is a regional council of governments that helps coordinate major construction projects here in the St. Louis metro area. The Center for American Progress published a report looking at the potential for creating clean energy jobs here in the state of Missouri and found that investing in retrofitting existing buildings and increasing their energy efficiency was the single highest impact way to spend public money to create jobs. And that is the jumping off point for our session today. As always, we want to know what you think as well. You can email us at laborvision@gmail.com and let us know what you think of this episode and this topic. Before we begin our discussion with our guests, we're going to see a short message from our friends at American Rights at Work. This is a funny bit. I think you'll like it quite a lot. It's a little unusual for us at Laborvision, but it's about a federal legislative issue that's important to labor. And then we'll be back with our guests, and we'll talk about clean energy construction jobs and what it can mean here in the St. Louis metro area. So let's take a look at the message from our friends.
Hi, I'm Charles Bigman, CEO. I want to personally welcome you to your new job and tell you a few things you need to know as an employee here. You've been offered a salary that's unique and special, just like you. In fact, your salary is based on rigorous research into your background: race, chest size, golf handicap, smell test, and whether your dad was in my class at Princeton. Another great thing about working here is you don't have to sign a contract. All that legal mumbo-jumbo and excessive paperwork guaranteeing your rights, who needs it? Well, I have a contract, but I'm the CEO. Not giving our employees a contract is great for staff motivation. The fear that you could lose your job at any moment helps keep you at your peak performance. I'd like to review a few common reasons for being fired. Please pay attention. Pregnancy, military service, getting old, getting fat, potential future pregnancy, and of course, talking about unions with your coworkers. That's a big one. You'll definitely appreciate this. Last quarter, our profit margins were through the roof. I bought the Wave Song. That's my new yacht. And I decided to give something back to my employees. A special cooler with soda. What can I say? I'm a softie. We pride ourselves on having a strong, powerful workforce. I like to call it our no wussies policy. That means no health care, sick days, paid vacation, or I just had a baby leave to distract you from work. How can you concentrate on your job if you're off sipping margaritas or in the hospital? It's impossible. We take care of our employees here. We have a first aid kit and some hand sanitizer. That always reminds me of hard work. Now, before I forget, You may have heard of a new bill in Congress called the Employee Free Choice Act. People say that could make life better for workers. Let me tell you, that's nonsense. If it becomes easier for you to form a union, then it becomes harder for me to buy one of those private islands in Dubai. You see, we're all in this company together. Thanks so much for joining the family. Now get to work.
Hello and welcome back to Laborvision. Today's question is, can green construction jobs put people back to work while addressing climate change? Remember, you can let us know what you think by emailing us at laborvision@gmail.com. But let's get back with our guests. Mark, in your work in the apprenticeship program at the Carpenters, do you find that preparing your members for jobs in green construction requires a fundamentally new set of skills, or no?
No, what we're finding is that the skills are basically the same. The skill sets are the same. It's just greening or putting a green twist, if you will, on the green curriculum that we already have in place. So the materials that we're using are still the same. What we would like to see, though, right now there is no job description per se for a weatherization worker under the Department of Labor. What we'd like to see is a technician certification that encompasses the weatherization worker for certification purposes. That way you could have a defined curriculum or a defined certification for that particular worker. You know, if you go to the Department of Labor and you look up a job description for an electrician or a carpenter, it'll give you that skill set or that task listing of competencies that encompasses that job description. Right now there is nothing for a weatherization worker. So it's still confusing as to what is a weatherization worker do and how is that defined.
So if I as a homeowner want to get my home weatherized, it's difficult then for me to know who I can hire that's going to have the competency, because anybody can say, yeah, I know how to do that.
Right. There are several different programs out there. There's the LEED program, there's the Energy Star rating certification, and each one of these have a different level of qualification for, say, weatherizing your home that goes from, say, a bronze standard to the utmost standard, which would be an emerald standard, but there's nothing for the worker certification to know whether that worker is competent to complete those tasks or not. We are partnered with the Home Builders Institute, which is the training leg of the National Association of Home Builders, that is working on a technician certification, and we're partnering with them to develop those competencies, and hopefully that will work towards that weatherization job description.
That makes sense, because I just recently replaced my furnace, and I knew I could call up the sheet metal workers and say, give me a union outfit that puts in furnaces, and I could be confident that the people knew what they were doing. But when I was having my insulation done, there was no parallel place I felt I could go to know, here's somebody who really knows what they're doing.
That's right.